This is London, and he's the CEO of Kickback. They blend nostalgia aesthetics with serious high-quality tech. Think beautifully designed CD players, turntables, and cameras. Kind of stuff that makes you do a double take and say, wait, I need that. London started the brand out of his NYC apartment, and it's taken off. Last year, they hit tens of millions impressions, and they're selling thousands of products a month. But he's looking to expand that awareness into more sales, get more consistent, and grow into retail.
Everyone says, oh, we should launch a brand, like, oh, I need to go viral, but you actually went viral quickly.
So I actually started the brand with my younger sister.
This is my little sister, and we started Kickback together with one really simple goal, which is just to make the technology industry way more exciting and stylish and vibrant.
This is Fix Your Funnel, a show where we help brands at real stages of their growth using HubSpot's loop marketing playbook. So what is loop marketing? Loop marketing is a new way to grow powered by human taste with AI efficiency to fuel growth. There are 4 stages of the loop. Express your unique story and point of view, tailor your messaging to your customers' needs, amplify across channels to meet buyers where they are, and evolve your content and strategy in real time. It loops, it learns, and it gets sharper every time you do it. We've got an entire library of loop marketing prompts you can use for your own marketing goals. Follow this playbook to fuel growth you may not even have thought was possible, using a framework that works for any business. Check those out in the description. So I'm headed to meet up with London to get some background on Kickback's current marketing strategy and find out what his marketing goals are so we can decide what stage of the loop that we want to focus on.
All right, so I think we start with the most obvious question. How does someone end up starting a nostalgic hardware brand?
Signed a record deal when I was 17, was touring around the world. I've always loved design, always loved hardware, always loved product. Me and all my friends, we were aspiring to spend less time on our phones. So I was like, let's try making tech products for the times that people are actually choosing to be off their phone. Our first real product was the CD player.
I had one of these.
We sold 3,000 units day one.
Amazing.
We went super viral with that product. There are really beautiful, cool CD players that are extremely expensive or really trash ones that are affordable. Let's find that in between. So record player was next.
This is an initial prototype, I imagine, or the
This
first
is
one?
literally the very first prototype, 001. Our entire thesis is basically utilizing existing technology and building around it and applying it in new ways. The whole thesis of our brand is just underthink everything. We want it to be fun. We want it to be playful.
It kind of has a real sweet spot of you don't see it every day, solves a consumer pain point, and looks awesome. So what's this next stage look like? What are the challenges?
We've landed on 3 kind of products that really work for us: CD player, record player, and camera. And it's now doubling down on that. Retail rollouts, we're starting to work with Moment Design Store, Urban Outfitters. Collabs are also really exciting for this year. We just announced our very first artist collab with Brent Faiyaz. We think that's a really organic way to reach our exact customer. I think we're trying to figure out how do we make each drop a moment, how do we scale into in a cash flow positive way.
Everyone talks about entrepreneurship and branding. No one talks about cash flow planning.
I think we're really good at kind of expressing our vision ourselves, figuring out how to better amplify that through clipping, through other creator collabs, distribute it in a way that hits people outside of our direct kind of following and consumer base is definitely the most challenging thing.
When we sit down today and go through the loop marketing stages, think Amplify is going to be perfect.
Because Kickback has already expressed their point of view and tailored their message to their existing audience, it's time to amplify. There's potential there, but if they really want to drive the consistency and growth they want, that has to scale to new places. The Amplify stage pushes you to diversify your distribution. It includes rethinking the marketing mix across AI search, creator partnership, communities, and events.
I think we sit down, map it out, and see if we can make a plan. All right, so we're gonna dig into Amplify. There's really 3 major pillars that we're gonna get into that will help you get more aggressive with your funnel.
First is optimizing for answer engines. Diversify where you're showing up to reach new customers and create moats for your business. Optimizing for answer engines like ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, and Gemini, so you're part of the answer when buyers are searching, is the start.
We all see it, right? When you're in Google now, you're not going down into the results below. It's basically what's in that Gemini summary up top.
When someone searches CD player or nostalgic tech, what pops up first? It should be them. If your brand isn't showing up in those, you're invisible in one of the fastest growing discovery channels that marketers have access to.
There's actually loop marketing prompts that are specific for this that we can just run, and you can go home and actually use the AI search visibility optimizer to actually take some of that and make a concrete plan.
Just copy the prompt, fill in the sections for your business, and throw it into any LLM.
SEO and AI SEO seems relatively similar to me.
SEO and AEO are super similar. They're just referencing different things. Instead of kind of gaming your way to the top, which is I think how we looked at more traditional SEO, it's about how can we really give actual answers, how can it prepare the best thing. Just to cross number 1 off, we're gonna do the AEO grader. It's a free HubSpot tool. This is something you can run literally right now. Look at exactly how ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini are showing the product up in search already. And then you'll get a brand perception analysis from 5 different dimensions. So if we look at Perplexity, scores a 50 there, and Google still 47, and there isn't a strong brand recognition, but you're actually kind of showing up in some recommendations. Definitely have some work to do there, but this is a solid baseline. You're able to run through that loop prompt and get a real plan.
It's like a report card for how AI sees your business. And for Kickback, understanding where they stand is the first step towards actually showing up in these results.
But that's just the first of the pillars. The second is going to be like extracting more format and channel value, like from the content you already make and the content you're about to make.
We mix every piece of content in different parts of the stage and the funnel, whether it's adding it to web pages, a carousel for LinkedIn, new creators, backgrounds, or voices. If you want to amplify your reach, you have to use what you've learned and spread it across more channels and test new things.
What are you thinking about in terms of how you're going to expand content?
Like utilizing collabs. Brent Fias has, 5 million followers on Instagram, but then he has like 10,000 super fans. Like, how do we like utilize that? How do we tap into that? How do we run ads against that?
That ties really well into the last pillar, which is basically how are you using ads and creators to target.
Combining smart ad targeting with partnerships from subject matter experts and creators who have reach with specific audiences. Ads put you in the right feed, creators put you in the right conversation. Kickback is already doing collabs, but targeting their ads towards partners that can bring in a new audience, that's going to help with conversion.
You haven't really run any ads, right?
Zero.
I want to transition into, I know the meat of what we want to talk about here, and that's like how we really leverage the content, the collabs, and the rollouts across all the channels.
I want to dig a bit deeper using the Amplify pillars as a roadmap and come up with a concrete plan that London can implement after today. He could be doing more with what he has. I'm going to whiteboard strategies with London and brainstorm some more ways he can build out format and channel value.
The way I break this down, and basically every single launch that you do, you have like these 3 pillars basically, where you have your own content, stuff that you actually control.
Yep.
So that'd be your account, that'd be the actual brand accounts, anyone that works for you, that kind of thing. External, so yeah, the artists, the fan accounts, the collabs, you could talk about clippers, aggregators, and then ads, like what are you actually spending money behind, and then the stages. Teasing the launch, get people excited, 2 or 3 pieces of content. Unveils, it's actually some of the most important content when people first see the product, the stuff you did with the label. The actual launch, whatever you're doing for the campaign, and then the sustain, like what goes on over time. Let's top and own for a second. What content are you doing? What are other people doing?
Some of our more viral stuff recently has been just like editorial carousels. Usually it's like a funny tagline or whatever. We do a lot of just like aesthetic reels. Capturing our community, our cult around the city with our products.
You have your personal account.
My brand just started selling at Urban Outfitters.
With that, some secondary accounts with some other creators on there, posting variations of the content you do with a different demographic.
I took my Discman to the beach yesterday and I had such a fun time.
It's just such a winning formula.
London talked about his Kickback cult, a community of people who are already engaged and loyal, and I think it's smart. Then we talked about external accounts.
We ideally are doing like 3 collab posts like for this rollout with Rent's label. He has all these fan accounts that have, between 10 and 50,000 followers. I want to do a lot more stuff like that.
The aggregators is the most interesting one.
Aggregators are accounts and platforms that curate for large audiences. News, music outlets, review platforms, carousel accounts on IG.
This begins to get into a slightly different world than the fan accounts. You can hit the fan account up. They're happy to do the giveaway. They're stoked. The aggregators, you start to get into some pay to play.
Getting featured there takes some effort and sometimes some budget, but the reach is immediate. They already have the eyeballs your brand is trying to reach.
There's just platforms you can post on, like WAP, who will basically aggregate clippers and stuff for you. And then there's firms that do it, but they do it on a CPM.
Clippers are creators or services that take your long form content or variations on your short form and turn it into more content.
Like I pay a $3 CPM per 1,000 views, and we'll basically call that L1s. You're gonna have like ones that you're responsible for, and then we have L2 is existing clipper accounts that all they're doing is posting clips. And then L3 is just tons of people that have 100, 200 followers. And what you'll notice is anyone good from this, you recruit to run your L1.
Kickback has a goldmine of content sitting there. It's worth it for him to actually dive in and get that content reformatted around key points like product launches.
Getting awareness through taking your own content, moving it to clipping, and then adding seeding, whether it's sending product or going into that, I think is how you support each launch.
Seeding is about leveraging the power of putting product into influential people's hands. It's where you can get the most out of audiences.
Are there any explicit instructions that come with that, or you're just gifting? Because our stuff's expensive. That's the problem we've had with seeding.
Seeding is all a game of your post rate. So basically, who are you choosing to get sent, and are they posting or not? And then it's what can they do with it? Like you're doing a launch in X amount of months, you invite 20 New York people to the studio where you know they're gonna film because it's sick, and they all pick up their product. Like that's where I'd start.
When the right person posts about your product, the consumer pays attention. When you multiply that by lots of people and micro influencers, there's real power.
What's great about seeding is that scale. Even though it's a higher cost per unit, I think you'll see you will beat the CPM cost of this.
But you can't just gift it to anyone. It's expensive. You have to get it in the right hands. People will actually post and have an audience that converts.
What's great about all this is it's measurable. Yeah. You're able to see those posts and aggregate it and be like, cool, I got 91,000 views by sending the product.
Yep.
All right, but I'm paying a $3 for the clippers and the views are kind of mediocre because who knows where it's going.
For this, I recommended the Creator Partnership Strategist from the Loop Marketing Prompt Library.
For anyone looking at this who says, hey, I want to start looking at initial creators to talk through, they can use that prompt to really just begin crafting that strategy and see where to start.
It helps identify and partner with creators, influencers, customers, and industry voices that your target customers trust and follow. Building partnerships partnerships that feel authentic, provide genuine value, and help reach business goals.
Organic content, you want to do that forever, but eventually you want to be able to leverage the partnership audiences. Like what you can do with ads. So what do you know about Meta ads?
I find Meta to be like the most confusing platform on the planet.
Meta's gotten actually very simple. The interface is complicated, but ASC campaigns that are in there do the work for you. How ASC functions is it sees the people that come to your existing store and your customers and basically models after them. And then the second thing you have in there is partnership ads. So basically, if you run a collab post or someone runs a post for you and you get their ad code, just getting those partnership codes means you're running ads direct to that fan base for that branded product. And then there's the catalog ads, which is just the ads that show your product to basically the people that viewed them. If you go in the system, it's called DPA.
Here's what I like about Meta ads. They can widen a brand's audience because the ads will reach people they wouldn't consider, and they will continually target people who've already seen your content to help convince them to buy. And for a brand like Kickback that already has strong organic content, they're gonna get great results. It's like pouring gasoline on a fire that's already burning.
Okay, when do we clip? When do we run ads? It really comes down to like two things. Like one is like anchor moments, like you're going into retail, etc. And then the other is sales moments. At some point, you're gonna have inventory on hand and you're gonna wanna move it. And as soon as you need to be like, I have more inventory than I want, I would literally be just getting basic ASC campaigns with your own stuff, getting a partnership ad going with whatever you're running, and then getting catalog DPA on, and just seeing what you can scale up. $20, $50 a day. Can we spend a couple of $1,000s a month profitably? Can we spend tens of thousands? Can we spend hundreds of thousands? In about 6 months of like running ads and testing, it's gonna help forecast your business. Okay, our floor is we have a 2x return on ad spend, and we can spend 50K. But don't waste the moment until you have inventory.
Kickback wasn't running any ads because their supply chain wasn't where they wanted it to be, but ads can help them scale their production. Their product always sells out, and having a repeatable ad strategy will allow them to forecast demand, produce smarter, put in larger PO orders, and actually have good conversations with banks and lenders. It all ties together. It's all part of the loop.
Looking at what we have here, what do you feel like your next steps are?
The space to me is goal number one. A showroom in New York City, somewhere we can just like produce content on the fly like I do in my room.
In terms of like bang for a buck, I think that's like by far the best option you have. And then you have the ability to create more owned accounts, right? Where it's like, hey, we have a pure like BTS account. Optimizing that space is such an easy win.
I love London's vision for his content studio, a space where he can fold in the right content creators, invite customers, make content himself, and build and run ads and test more things. All this ties back to Amplify, amplifying reach to find new voices, converting it all back to sales and retail customers. I discussed several prompts that can make an impact on Kickback's marketing strategies.
They're already engineered and they're designed to bring a specific purpose out. First is the content amplification engine. That is going to do a content audit,
repurposing frameworks, distribution optimization, and importantly, performance measurement.
A lot of the things that we've talked about that we take for granted being in content, it will give people like more of a step-by-step strategy.
You want to significantly extend reach and impact of the assets you're already creating.
Then there's community-driven distribution. That's an excellent prompt for looking through how you engage existing customers and fans and make content with them. With these fan accounts, with these aggregators, they live in all these other places. They live on Reddit, they live in forums. It's going to actually track that down. I think will be useful. So I'm going to summarize all this, put those prompts together, get you over a package, and we'll check in 30, 60 days and see what the results are.
When we touch base next, I'm going to find out what he tweaked and improved on. I already know we're going to see some great results.
So what's going on, man? I know it's been a while since we last checked in. We were talking about all kinds of stuff when we met up in New York. I know you're doing a ton. What's been going down?
We've been staying busy engaging our community in a more, strategic way. We have about like 20 creators locked into like the cult right now who are going to be doing a bunch of UGC, combination organic stuff we run ads on.
One of my favorite things about working with him is he's the kind of person that actually does it. Some people have a bunch of ideas and get overwhelmed. London heard a bunch and started pressing the button on almost all of them.
When we were together, we worked through that creator partner strategy prompt. So you said you got like 20. How are you structuring that? How's that working? What are you about to kick off?
Our strategy has been like basically two-pronged. Like, we went to our existing customer base who have followings, who make great content, and just hitting them up and like, yo, we'd love to give you something, no expectation. And then some more, thought through kind of partnerships where we're creating affiliate links. They get certain amount of every order they bring in. They have certain content expectations on a monthly basis, and we're providing them with like a dynamic sheet that we're updating consistently with like hooks that we're seeing internally work, hooks we're seeing crush for other creators.
Sharing all those hooks and stuff is great. Getting them together as a group is awesome too. Even it's like a Zoom call once a month or whatever, so they meet each other is a huge thing. And you also notice like some of the people you may have in the program like may not be the biggest creators, but maybe super social. And then all of a sudden that's a great person to hire to actually like run the expansion.
That is a a incredibly like lucky component of this brand. It's not hard to get people excited to collab. So it's just like pressing go on that.
When we met in person, you worked through the creator partnership strategist prompt and talked about the massive opportunity Kickback has to partner with other creators. What I love is they're not just blasting DMs, they're actually hopping on calls with these creators, building real relationships, making you feel like a family. This is Amplify in action. Instead of just creating content from one account, they're now activating 20 different voices. If the assets they start here are performing well on the ad account, the sky's the limit. They can add in lots of creators and really build this.
You kicked off Meta, getting more stable in the business, is a huge priority. How's that been going? What have you been seeing so far?
We're spending $50 a day, which is what we talked about in person. Stability, as you know, has been like my biggest stress point. It's really stressful going from months where we make 6 figures to months where we make like nothing.
Yeah, when we sit down and we went through that that content amplification engine prompt, we're just looking at what can you do with all the great content you have. Like ads is just a no-brainer.
Kickback have been basing their entire business on virality, which means revenue isn't always consistent. That's an incredibly stressful way to run a business. That's where running ads comes in.
If we're running an ad that's all about scarcity and all about selling out 6x, like how do we like lean into that? I definitely think that's something we can do a better job at. Our CTR is unbelievably high. Like I've never seen a CTR in anything I've done. Like add to carts is absurdly high, but checkout is like average.
Their click-through rate is unbelievably high. That's a great sign. It means the creative is resonating and people want to click. That part of the funnel is working. But here's where we get into the numbers.
Our break-even's like 1.5 to 1.6, depending on the products. Our conversion's sitting between 2.5 and 3x ROAS.
And that 2.5 to 3x is like amazing. Like even if your conversion rate is low, if you're getting that ROAS, I would really be seeing how far you can push it. If you're seeing those CTRs, et cetera, at 50, like if you have the inventory, we'd basically trying to spend like a lot more, seeing how much of that is scale. So obviously Meta is going to show it to like fans and the people with the highest affinity and the easiest people for them to find to start. You have that low budget. And I'm really curious, like if that stays as you spend more and more, because that will allow you to forecast, like put in bigger POs to kind of get bigger demand. Say you're getting a customer for $30 and you know they're going to spend $90 with you over time. That means you can acquire that first customer basically for free, and it gives you enough money to acquire 2 more customers, and that gives you like a hockey stick. And if you're showing that growth at any level of decent scale, 6 figures, getting into 7 figures, that's the kind of stuff where capital and banks and etc. will get really excited about what's working and allow you to like really go for it.
In plain terms, for every $1 London spends on ads, he's getting $2.50 to $3 back. For a brand that just turned on ads for the first time, it's a strong starting point. But he's got to scale and see how far this goes and if those returns continue as he increases. Then we want to tighten the funnel itself. If a lot of people are clicking, but conversion rates are a little low, we have to figure out what he's going to be able to do on page, how he's going to repurpose his existing content, and test different messages to really lock in.
I know you mentioned the physical space as well, like in that whole community-driven distribution idea that we walked through in person. What's going on there?
We found a sick retail space in like Chinatown.
And this is huge for Amplify. When you get people in the room, you've got authentic collaboration. And a few $1,000s a month for the space, if he's getting 20 or 30 people through every month, it's paying back for itself easily, and it's costs he would have spent on creating assets.
I've been building out my personal Instagram page. It's getting insane engagement, like 2 million views in the last 30 days with like a 15% engagement rate. I'm not like super like sure what that'll equate to for Kickback yet, but obviously if I'm generating millions of free views a month, it's not gonna hurt.
This is something that's a through line with all the people that we've kind of worked with on this series. Like everyone is a creator to some extent. I think people respect it a lot more. You are relentlessly executing stuff. You're doing new stuff every day. None of these ideas like just lived in the vacuum. You actually went and got it done. And I think that's a lesson that everyone can take away from this. So I appreciate you working through this and stoked to see where the business goes.
But having a founder who understands how to create content, it gives him empathy and insight into how Kickback actually approaches their creator community. When I first caught up with London, he was doing everything he could to generate content his audience would like. But he was only serving that same audience. He wasn't diversifying. And that's where Amplify came in. We optimized for answer engines. We worked on Kickback's searchable presence, which was already pretty good, making sure that when someone asks an AI platform for a nostalgic tech or a new CD player, he shows up. Then we extracted more format and channel value. We discussed how London can remix his content across new channels, whether or not he should use clippers, and how to get the most mileage out of every collab. And we worked on what I think is the most important, activating targeted ads and creators. We strategized on meta ads, seeding strategy, the creator partnership strategist prompt, and how to create a creator program that scales. If there's one takeaway from Kickback's story, it's this. The strategy matters, but the action is what counts. London is relentlessly executing, even without a big team. Now that he's been through the Amplify stage, the work doesn't stop. London can always see what the other stages, Express, Tailor, Evolve, can do for him. Maybe he refines his brand voice to reach new customers over time. Maybe he sharpens personalization as he gets more data from ads. Because that's what loop marketing does. It works for any business, any stage. It loops, it learns. It gets sharper every time you use it.